day our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack.
We got a 10-13, we got a second, possible members of the service down.
The victims were in airplanes or in their offices. Secretaries, businessmen and women, military and federal workers, moms and dads, friends and neighbors.
For. This time over 10 years ago, my wife and I were down at what was now called Ground Zero because two airplanes had crashed into the World Trade Center. And the Salvation Army was looking for preachers and pastors and people who could come and not to dig through the rubble to try to rescue, but just to come and hold the hands of those who were digging through the rubble. Say a prayer to those as they came out of that ground zero all dirty and dusty, all weary from the sights that they had seen, wondering if there really is a God after seeing all of that devastation. We, my wife and I, sat down with them and prayed, talked with them, shared the goodness of Jesus with them. And when we finished with these people, we just stayed there and just continued to do it. And one fireman after another, one first responder after another would come through the washing center. And they would walk into that hall, and the hall was all decorated with the little kids that put posters up, pictures of what had happened with the World Trade Center. And as we walked in that hall and just saw people trying to smile when there was no laughter in their hearts. When we walked through that hall trying to see people who wanted to make the next step to go back out when everything was telling them this is too devastating. Yet God was in that place. Yet Jesus was in that place. He was able to use my wife, he was able to use me, he was able to use those other preachers and those other pastors who was down there, and as we prayed with those people, they were able to go back out and dig through the rubble again, bring in bodies and pieces and parts of bodies. And as they came through the door and they saw us standing there, they just kind of just came to us. If though we just had bread for them or we had water for them, we had something that they needed. And that was the love of Jesus Christ. The good news is we know those people were saved. For I have documented evidence that there were those who gave telegrams and wrote letters, and they were on the telephone talking to their wives and notes, and people came to Christ while they were in that building. I met such a lady, and we gave her a plaque at one of the ceremonies where her husband had gathered everybody around him. And as the building was on fire and they knew that they were going to die, he held a worship service, gave them an opportunity to give their lives to God, and they did. God is good.
Secretary Gates, Admiral Mullen, and members of the Armed Forces, my fellow Americans, most of all to you, survivors who still carry the scars of tragedy and destruction, to the families who carry in your hearts the memory of the loved ones you lost here. For a nation, this is a day of remembrance, a day of reflection, and with God's grace, a day of unity and renewal. We gather to remember at this sacred hour on hallowed ground, at places where we feel such grief and where our healing goes on. We gather here at the Pentagon, where the names of the lost are forever etched in stone. We gather in a gentle Pennsylvania field, where a plane went down and a tower of voices will rise and echo through the air. And we gather where the Twin Towers fell, a site where the work goes on so that next year, on the 10th anniversary, the waters will flow in steady tribute to the nearly 3,000 innocent lives. That these memorials and your presence today remind us to remember the fullness of their time on earth. They were fathers and mothers raising their families, brothers and sisters pursuing their dreams, sons and daughters, their whole lives before them. They were civilians and service members. Some never saw the danger coming. Others saw the peril and rushed to save others up those stairwells, into the flames, into the cockpit. They were white and black and brown, men and women and some children, made up of all races, many faiths. They were Americans, people from far corners of the world. They were snatched from us senselessly, much too soon. But they lived well, and they live on in you.
Save it, brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. America, I love you, America, because my God done shed his grace on thee, and you ought to love him for it, because he crowned not good. He told me he would. Save it, brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord, thank you, Jesus.